Venezuela, let's talk about it.
So Trump activated 4,000 Marines to go fight in Venezuela against Maduro. Just guess how many militiamen Maduro just activated in response? I'll give you a second. Did you say 4.5 million?
Now, I already made one video in response to that, and that was mostly focused on just how ready the Marines are, how excited they'd be to hear that number 4.5 million. This video is what would actually happen if things did kick off. Now, things I could talk about is how that 4.5 million number really is a fugazi. Even if they could activate all those people, they don't have enough guns or ammunition for all those people. And how about most of those people haven't been trained or quite frankly, are just really old. I could also go on about how most of the people, population don't like the government. Heck, I could even go on about how the Venezuelan military as a whole does not have the ability to conduct sustained military operations for probably more than a week at best. Instead, I'm going to talk about what the first 48 hours of action would be if the green light was given. Keep in mind, this is not pro-military action or anti-military action. This is just what would happen, and I'm not breaking any sort of OPSEC or anything like that. This is just based off of my experience of what I think would happen and what the course of action that the military would take. So step one is that we would use our destroyers to take out key military infrastructure. Most importantly, their surface-to-air missile sites or their anti-air sites, their ability to conduct air operations. We'd probably take out the vast majority of their military aircraft. Keep in mind, as a force, they only have 140 aircraft in total, and maybe 30 of those are fighter aircraft, but I can guarantee you, this is just knowing this is true in the U.S. military, probably at least 30% of those are combat ineffective and probably can't fly anyway. So we would launch the missiles and we would destroy pretty much all of that. We'd also take out key infrastructure sites like power grids or other things, or communication relay sites. That is all without setting a single foot on the ground. Next, since we took out all their air assets and their ability to respond to air, we would then, therefore, gain air superiority, which in the modern battlefield is key. The next thing that we would do is that we would then send in the Marines, probably via Osprey, and we would secure, you could call it a beachhead, but we would secure a location there and hold it. Now, that's actually course of action one. They could say, we're going to try to make some sort of invasion force, secure a beachhead and go in, or they could maybe be more tactical and be like, we're just going to go straight for Maduro. But for this conversation, we're going to say that maybe we're going to do some sort of invasion force, long-term planning thing. A MEU can sustain combat operations for up to 30 days without resupply. Now, that's a normal MEU. This is actually a MEU plus, but that's beside the point. In that 30 days, the Marines would secure a beachhead or most likely some sort of port so that they could have boat access, and create a forward operating base for operations for oncoming troops. During that 30 days, we would probably activate either a MEF or an ARG, or there's a lot of assets that we could bring down there. But just know, they'd be like, cool, we coming, boys. Once we've actually got that established, once we got the backup down there, then we can start making our push into country. And again, you say 4.5 million, we got to think about the quality, the desire, the morale, and the lack of stuff. It would be something that we could easily roll through. Now, people talk about Vietnam and everything else like that. What we are really, really good is kicking ass. What we suck at is nation building. So we can definitely roll through Venezuela, no problem. What we probably shouldn't do and should not do, and just would probably suck at still, is try to rebuild the nation or become nation builders there. That would be probably pretty bad. Granted, this was all broad strokes of what would happen within the first couple days, the first couple weeks. However, I guarantee you that Venezuela has essentially paper resistance for the U.S. military and that MEU that is sitting off their coast. And if you stayed this long, I truly appreciate it. Drop a follow, like, comment, tell me what you think.